Yes, there's one from the audience.
Why is the city council not putting it on the ballot, since it looks like a who's who of Austin that is supporting this?
I think you'd have to ask the city council that, and that's what we intend to do.
Let me take a guess. Having been involved in politics for a number of years, since I had started,
A few years.
holding an office is very difficult sometimes. They're pulling you from 100 different ways, and it is difficult to make decisions. And I think that it is more difficult for some people than others, and it's called leadership, in the bottom line. For many years in the Senate, I carried this card. And this is what I would commend to the city council at this point, and anybody else running for office. It was written by, I believe, a minister named William Bechter. It says, "It is better to displease the people by doing what you know is right than to temporarily please them by doing what you know is wrong." So leadership is needed right now in our city, our state, and our country.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes.
It was mentioned earlier that all city council members, or a majority of city council members, have come from one part of town. May I inquire as to what part of town that is?
There's 3 or 4 zip codes. It's mostly West Austin. Particularly, it's the league has studied this for a year, as has the Charter Review Committee, and it is hard for the league to change a position. So we have been looking at this for a long time, and there were skeptics in the league. And when we finally had the vote on the position change that included support for a district-only plan, the vote was I think we only had 4 votes against it. So it was overwhelming.
From the membership.
From the membership. So that's the reason that when the league speaks, that it carries a lot of weight, is because people understand the difficulty of getting a group of politically astute people to agree on anything.
And they understand the issues.
Yeah, this has been a complicated issue for a lot of us to understand. Anything else? Yes.
I'm going to start a difficult question. You may not be able to answer it. Many people argue that having individual districts is going to create a parochial kind of environment in the city council. And I know that's not true, but can you address that?
The study we did shows that there is some tendency toward that, but it's not that pronounced. I think that the fear of that is Chicago, and Austin is not Chicago. We don't have the same history. There's really no comparison. When you look at cities that have changed recently, what's happened is increased participation. It slowed down some decisions because more people are participating, but that's what we want. If more people are participating, that slows things down. We want it to go slower. But in terms of it just being where people draw themselves into a corner and say, I'm not going to do anything unless you do this, we just don't see that much happening. And we think Austin is a politically active enough city so that voters and citizens will insist that not happen. It's all about participation, and this tends to increase participation in general.
I would actually turn that question around and say we have geographic representation at the county level, in the state legislature, and in Congress, so why shouldn't we have it at the city if it works everywhere else?
Well, and also Dallas and San Antonio and most of the cities, certainly all the cities in our side, have geographic districts, and that does not seem to be a big problem. They are all interested in the betterment of the city.
Also, you have any comments on it?
Sure. Again, if you look at the studies I've seen, clearly this system works best. You mentioned Dallas, also Fort Worth as well. Definitely, look at the turnout right now in the county and city elections. It's dismal. You can't just talk about voter apathy. Clearly, there are other problems. I think when you have local grassroots representation, that's an incentive for folks to reach out to folks that they know and get involved. So I think clearly the positive add up and say, this is a much better system. And more importantly, I think the time is right. I think despite the previous efforts in these other elections, I think now everything seems to be from court one direction, which is progress. And I'm certainly happy to be a part of that process.
Let me commend, I don't think we have mentioned, Sosa, who is a board member of the Austin Community College. Thank you for being here in your efforts. And by the way, along that question, this is not the 1920s, 30s, 40s, or 50s. 2012, it's a much different time, and if that happens, it's up to the individual people to get rid of that individual who may be doing the wrong things. It's much more of an opportunity for all the people in the different areas.
Thank you.
Yeah, I actually wanted to share this real quick, since the leadership is here, that what people are hearing, what really connects with people on the street as we're getting it, we're out getting our signatures on this very question, is I tell them that it would actually, ward politics would be an improvement over what we have right now, because it's 70707070. There's no debate. And they go, oh yeah. And like on the $2.3 billion biomass deal, which is probably one of the key reasons why our rates are about to go up after they all got reelected. So really we do need that competitive spirit, both at the local, in those districts and between the districts. They kind of get that.
Let me finally say, you reminded me about participation. Cesar Chavez, a great humanitarian leader of farm workers, once said, there is no perfect political system. There is only perfect participation. Mm-hmm. And participation is what we're trying to do for people to vote.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to say, if I might, that I am surprised at our local media, TV stations, radio stations, newspapers, in such an important issue in this time and place for our city, that more of them have not participated. For those who are here, thank you.